Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
That microphone will amplify. If you could just, in a loud and clear voice, introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your last name.
Morning. My name is Michael Bradley. I'm a retired Westfield police officer. Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, Bradley, B-R-A-D-L-E-Y.
And you mentioned this already, but approximately when did you retire, sir?
January of 22.
Okay. And how long were you a police officer in the city of Westfield?
32 years.
All right. I want to direct your attention back to a specific time period, specifically January 13th of 2019. Were you working as a police officer at that time?
Yes, I was.
All right. And do you recall getting a call or dispatch at about 11:03 a.m.?
Yes.
All right. And as a result of that, where did you go?
I went to 92 Meadow Street, second floor.
Did you go? I'm sorry, you said Meadow Street.
I'm sorry, White Street.
92 White Street.
I
Okay.
had been on Meadow Street at the time, and I made my way to White Street.
Were you working alone or with a partner that day?
I was assigned to a marked cruiser that day, Southwest Sector, Car 18, single-man cruiser.
All right. And did you respond to that 92 White Street address?
Yes, I did.
Did it take you long to get there? Again, just in general.
Been a while. It wouldn't have taken very long because that's the south side of town. So,
Did you activate your emergency equipment and go directly to that location?
yes, sir.
And when you got to 92 White Street, who else was there from law enforcement, if you recall?
Officer Pellin and Officer Grady.
All right. So the three of you initially,
Yes, sir.
what did you do when you got to the residence?
We ended up going to the back of the house and went up the back staircase. And when I got to the top of the stairs, I knocked on the door. I found the door ajar, knocked, announced that police. As the door opened up, I could hear a voice in the apartment say, "I'm here, I'm here."
All right. When you went into or got into the apartment, do you recall like what general area you entered into?
It was right off of the kitchen area, and the voice was coming from my left as I entered the back of the apartment.
As you entered into the apartment and went, did you have to go through the kitchen to get to the other location?
Yes.
Did you make any immediate observations in the kitchen?
Yes. As I walked through the kitchen, on the floor, observed a female body laying on the floor, face up, covered in blood, blood on the cabinets, blood on the floor. And observing her, she was deceased and beyond care. I also observed a knife, a bloody knife on the counter in the kitchen.
After you made those observations, did you go towards the voice?
I did. And there was a drape covering the doorway. Pulled my service weapon, pulled the drape back, observed a male laying on a couch, asked the male to show me his hands, which he did. He complied. I entered into the back room, holstered my weapon, gloved up, came over to the male. He was still on a cell phone at the time, kind of cradling it between his neck and his shoulder. Took that from him, put it on the couch, and I looked at his wrists because that was the initial call, and he had some dried, bloody cuts to his wrists. And I asked him what had happened.
And what did he say, if anything?
He said that he had stabbed his girlfriend, Alexis.
Did he say when?
I believe he said Friday.
Okay. And just so we're clear, you're responding at what time?
This was Sunday morning.
At about 11?
11 o'clock. That was a day and change later.
That person that you encountered that morning, do you see him in this courtroom?
I do.
Could you point to him and describe the color shirt he's wearing?
Male party, brown hair, gray shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect identification of the defendant?
Yes, he's pointing in that direction.
Did the male party identify himself to you?
He did.
And how did he do that? Did he tell you his name?
He did. He said his name was Blake Scanlon.
Did you ask him who the person in the kitchen was?
I did, and he told me that was his girlfriend, Alexis Avery.
Okay. May I approach the bench, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Can I see you both quickly on something?
Yes.
Yes.
You mentioned, Officer Bradley, that when you encountered Mr. Scanlon, you thought to follow him.
Yes.
Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
And what do you recognize this item is?
The cell phone that Blake was speaking on at the time.
And you told him to put this down?
I took it from him
Where did you put it?
on the couch right next to us.
Did paramedics arrive at the residence as well?
They did.
Did they arrive shortly after you?
Shortly after, and once my scene was safe, I summoned them in to take care of Blake.
Okay. After the paramedics went in and did their thing, what was the rest of your role, kind of, at that moment?
Once they tended to him, they took him outside to the ambulance. Myself and Officer Pellin secured the apartment until state police was notified and showed up on scene.
When you say security department, you made sure that nobody came or went in?
Correct.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I have no more questions for Officer Bradley.
Just a couple here, officer. So when, just want to make sure we're very clear on some things. So when you came into the apartment that day, Mr. Scanlon did have wounds on his wrists, is that correct?
Yes.
And by the time you arrived, if they weren't actively bleeding anymore?
They didn't appear to be, no.
Okay. But you did bring the ambulance workers in once they arrived because it appeared he needed care, correct?
That was the initial call, yes.
And when you came in, he didn't get up from the couch in any way?
No.
And he certainly didn't threaten you or argue with you or become violent in any way?
No.
No further questions.
Anything further, Mr. Green?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, officer.
Thank you.